Welcome to Chat with Charlie on Mum Matters, the real talk podcast for mums navigating the beautiful chaos of motherhood. I'm Charlie, mum of 5, here to help you feel more confident and less overwhelmed from pregnancy to those am I doing this right moments we all have. We talk about the stuff that no one prepares you for, so go and grab a cuppa and let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to Chat with Charlie on Mum Matters. I'm so happy that you're here again. So I recently ran a poll on Instagram. I asked, what would make the biggest difference to your daily life right now? And the number one answer was help from my partner or my family without having to ask. Without having to ask. That part hit me because it's not really about the help, is it? It's about the asking, the constant delegating, the feeling that if you don't say something, then nothing happens. And that's exhausting in a way that's kind of hard to explain. Because even when people around you are willing to help, if you're still the one tracking everything, like noticing everything, assigning everything, you're still carrying the load. Last episode, I talked about having the conversations with your partner, making the invisible visible, getting them to actually own things instead of just helping. Today, I want to go a bit deeper than that because the conversation is like step 1. But step 2, that's about how you run your home, the systems, the schedules, the things you put in place so that everyone knows what's happening without you being the human reminder, which I'm sure many of you are right now. That's where the real freedom is. Let's talk about why just ask for help doesn't work. On the surface, it sounds reasonable. If you need something, say something. It's pretty simple. But here's what that actually looks like in practice. You notice the bins need taking out. You could just ask. But you've already asked 3 times this week. So now you're weighing up, is it easier to just do it myself? Or do I ask again and feel like a nag? You need 10 minutes to yourself. But to get that, you have to arrange it. Tell everyone where things are. Answer 4 questions before you even leave the room. And by the time you've coordinated it all, you're more drained than when you started. Familiar? That's the mental load. It's not the tasks themselves. It's being the only one who sees them, tracks them, and makes them happen. And when you have to ask for every single thing, you're still like the project manager. You're still holding it all together. So the goal, it's not just to get people to do more. It's to build systems where they know what to do without you. That's what takes it off your plate. For real. Let me give you an example that might sound a bit ridiculous, but honestly, it literally changed my mornings. We have a 7-seater car. We have 5 kids, and no one, and I mean no one, wants to sit in the very back row. It was really exciting when we first got the car. Everybody wanted to sit in the back. Like, okay. It wore off very quickly. So we take turns. Fair enough, right? Except I was the one tracking whose turn it was. Every single morning, the kids would ask me, my husband would ask me, who's sitting in the back today? And I couldn't remember because I've got about 400 other things running through my head at any given moment. So I'd stand there trying to think, was it this one yesterday or was it that one? Who said, like mentally trying to remember who was sitting where. Or was that on Tuesday? Did that happen yesterday? You know? And now everyone's waiting and we're going to be late. And I'm already stressed before they've even left the house. So one day I'd literally had enough. I thought, why am I holding this in my head? So I made crazy. It's mad. Friends of mine have actually laughed at me. Like, I think it's by the utter genius of it. But I got to that point and I was like, I'm making a car rota, a car seat rota. Have you ever heard anything like it? I wrote it out. I did a rota for on the way to school and on the way back. So if someone was in the very back on the way to school, then they'd be sitting in the front on the way back. So it's like okay, you're in the back this morning, but don't worry, you're going to be in the front on the way home, just to try and sort of soften the blow. So I made it. It was like the craziest thing I've ever done. So because I have 4 children that go to school, my little one's still at home until September. So because it's not even, there's 4 kids going to school in the car and 5 days of the week. So we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a 2 school rota, and then a back from school rota, and then we have a Friday rota. Okay, I know it's sounding really, really crazy. It works. It works. And on the Friday rota, each child has a week, a Friday, where they get to sit in the whatever seat they're in on the way to school and on the way back. Nuts. But it worked for us. I did it. I stuck it on the wall. We have used it for this entire year. This entire year. Nobody asks me where anyone's sitting anymore. Not even my husband. They check the rota in the morning. Everyone sits where they're supposed to, and they know that their turn to sit wherever their favourite seat is in the car, they're going to get their turn. And yes, it's a lot of juggling around with booster seats and goodness knows what, but my head is clear. There are no arguments. It sounds insane, I know. I mean, a rota for who sits where in the car. I mean, who does that? But guess what happened? The bottom line is no one asks me anymore. They check the rota, they know, done. And there's no arguing. And there's no confusion of anyone saying that it's their turn when it's not. That one tiny system that took me like probably 30 minutes to put together, took a question out of my head and a problem forever. And that's what I want you to understand. Maybe you don't need a car seat rota. It's not about being overly organised or controlling. It's about moving information out your brain and into a place where everyone can see it. That is how you get help without asking. You build systems that do the asking for you. The car rota was just the start. Once I realised how much I was holding that didn't need to be in my own head, I started looking at everything differently. I gave everyone jobs in the house, not chores that I nag them about, actual responsibilities that are theirs. My older kids know what they're responsible for each day. It's not, can someone empty the dishwasher? It's your job on a Tuesday and a Thursday. They don't wait for me to ask. They know. And yes, it took a minute to set up. We had a family conversation about it. I let them pick some of what they wanted to own. We tried things, adjusted. We found what worked, age appropriate. Because your kids are more capable than what you give credit for. And the little tiny kids, they love to help. And we're not looking for perfection. Because now it runs. Not perfectly every single time, but it runs. My husband has his things. The kids have their things. And I'm not standing in the middle directing the traffic. The key is making it visible. Like we said last week. We have a rhythm chart. Everyone can see who does what and when. It's not complicated. I can't do complicated. It's just clear. Inside Back to Me, I teach exactly how to set this up in a way that fits your individual family, because every household is different. Your rhythms won't look like mine. But the principle is the same. When everyone can see what needs doing and who's responsible, you stop being the only brain holding it all in. And that's quite freeing. Okay, let's talk about dinner. What's for dinner might be the most dreaded question in motherhood. I swear, some days those 3 words made me want to scream. Not because I don't want to feed my family. It's like literally not that. But because the mental load of figuring out what to cook, whether we have the ingredients, what everyone will actually eat, what we had yesterday so we're not repeating, it's constant. Every single day, that question sits on your shoulders. And even when someone offers to cook, they often ask, what should I make? So you're still doing the thinking. But no one really offers to cook in my house, if I'm really honest. Here's what I did instead. I made a 4-week meal rota. I sat down with my kids and my husband, and it was like winter holidays, and I asked them all to write down what their 5 favourite dinners were. Some of them overlapped, some of them said the same things. So then I put it all into a 4-week rota. Week 1, we eat these dinners. Week 2, these ones, all the way through to week 4, and then we start again. It's not rigid. If something doesn't work one night, we swap it, but the baseline is there. I generally do stick to it, to be honest, and it's given so much clarity in our home around dinners. So here's what changed. Everyone knows what's for dinner now. It's written down and no one asked. And if anyone does ask me, I just tell them to check the rota. We're on week 3, for example. I can plan my shopping ahead. I know exactly what ingredients I need for the week. No more wandering around the supermarket trying to remember what we're running low on. I don't buy unnecessary stuff, which means I actually save money. And I really do. That wasn't even the goal though, but it's a genuine, bonus. And meal times feel so much calmer because the decision is already made. I'm not standing in front of the fridge at 5 p.m. with a crying toddler wondering what on earth to cook. The system holds it, not me. I actually even take the responsibility away from me. If one of my kids are like, but I don't like that, I'm like, well, that's what the rota says, so that's what we're having. And what I usually do, if you're worried about like fussy eaters, so I cook something, let's say, for example, on a Wednesday, something I know every single one of my kids like, but something that can have leftovers for the next day. So for example, let's say I do chicken schnitzel on a Wednesday night, and I know all my kids will eat that. So then on a Thursday, I'm making spaghetti bolognese, but I know only a few of my kids like that, but they still like schnitzel. So the ones that don't like the spaghetti bolognese will have the leftover schnitzel from the night before, and the ones that do like the spaghetti bolognese will have the spaghetti bolognese. So I still manage to keep everyone happy, but you will find your own rhythm with that, and I do explain how to do all of this in Back to Me as well. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Charlie, this sounds like a lot of work. Rotas, rhythms, charts on the wall. Isn't that just like more to manage? And yes, setting it up takes some energy up front. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. You do have to sit down and make time to create it all. But firstly, Back to Me will give you all the templates to do all of this and the guidance as well. So it's all basically there for you. But also, not only that, here's what's on the other side for you. Space. Actual mental space. When you're not tracking whose turn it is, what's for dinner, who's doing what, who needs reminding, your brain gets a little quieter. You can be more present with your kids without running a to-do list underneath every single moment. You can sit down for 5 minutes without someone asking you a question only you know the answer to. You can start to breathe again. And that's where the real transformation actually happens. Because everything I teach inside Back to Me comes back to this. You cannot rediscover yourself if there's no room in your head for you. The mental load doesn't just make you tired, it makes you invisible to yourself. These systems aren't about being a perfect homemaker. They're about creating enough space for you to exist again. And that's the goal. That's what we're building. But the more sustainable kind of help, it's structural. It's not someone swooping in when you're at breaking point. It's everyone knowing their part so you never get to breaking point in the first place. That's a different kind of help. The quiet kind. The kind that doesn't feel dramatic but changes everything actually. It's your partner, your husband, checking the meal rota and possibly even defrosting the chicken without being asked. It's your kids glancing at the rhythm chart and emptying the dishwasher or putting their laundry away because they know it's their day or that's the day that you do that. It's no one asking what's for dinner. Or where am I sitting? Because the answer is already there, visible for everyone. You're not rescued, you're supported every single day by systems that hold what you used to hold completely on your own. And here's the real shift. When you stop being the family brain, you get to just be in your family. You get to enjoy the car ride instead of mentally tracking who sat where yesterday. You get to eat dinner without the resentment of having made every decision that led it to being on the table and then no one eating it. You get space to think about something other than logistics. Maybe even think about yourself. What you want, what you need, who you're becoming. That's what getting help really looks like, not dramatic rescue. Just a home that runs without everything flowing through you. So if you're listening and you're thinking, okay, I want this, here's where to begin. Start with one friction point, just one. What question are you asked constantly that drains you? What decision do you make every single day that someone else could make if they had the information? Maybe it's the dinner question. Maybe it's who's doing what after school. Maybe it's something tiny like who's sitting where in the car. You'd be amazed at the things that drive you mad that you don't realise, that you're just on autopilot, just answering and answering and answering. Pick one. Ask yourself, how can I make this visible so I'm not the only one holding it? Write it down. Stick it on the wall. Put it in a shared notes on your phone. Whatever works for your family. Then expand from there. One system at a time. Inside Back to Me, I walk you through exactly how to do this. With all the templates and everything, the home friction audit helps you identify where the mental load is the heaviest. The 2-minute fix framework helps you solve the small stuff really, really quick. And the rhythms that work for you, step, help you build daily and weekly rhythms that actually fit your life. You don't have to figure this out on your own, and you don't have to overhaul everything at once. I actually wouldn't advise that you do that at all. One rota, one rhythm, one thing off your plate. That's how it starts. If this episode resonated with you, send me a DM on Instagram. Tell me what friction point you're going to tackle first. I'd genuinely love to know. And if you know someone that could really do with hearing this episode, then please share it with them. And if you are ready to go deeper, to build systems, set rhythms, and create actual space for yourself in your own life, Back to Me is where we do that work together. The link is in the show notes for Back to Me and everything else that you can need around Charlie's parenting. Thank you so, so much for being here today. I look forward to being with you again next time. Thanks for listening to Chat with Charlie on Mum Matters. Find ongoing support in the Mum Matters community. Link is in the show notes, because behind every child is a mum who matters. See you next time.